For June the 27th, 2025, we talk about FBC Firebreak, SplitGate 2, Lost in Random, The Eternal Die, and much more. Welcome to Level 548. My name is Kaye Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm Moxie.
I'm Ben Merkel.
And you are listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. Welcome back, I guess, both Dennis and Moxie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been on walkabout.
You have. Since you spoke, why don't you volunteer? What you been up to?
Yeah, there's actually something I wanted to talk about. It's a perfect banter topic here, and I've just put it off for many weeks because I've had other stuff. But in traditional bringing games into the banter sense, I watched the DMC anime on Netflix.
Oh,
was this the original one?
No, this was
one.
I'm going to mispronounce his name, Ari Shankar or something like that.
By the Castlevania people?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And it's an anime.
Yeah.
It is. I think my biggest takeaway from watching it, nothing was outright bad, but it's like, oh my God, so much of why Devil May Cry works is the over the top cool guy edgelord stuff is spaced out so much.
Yeah.
In between long bouts of just continuous action.
Of you going and doing the cool stuff and not just the weird, like, glorifying. Yeah.
Yes. And while the DMC anime has a lot of great action sequences, you just can't have that much action or as much action as you need in anime form to space out some of the just like cringy and okayness of it. So
Again, a little sweaty.
Yeah, a little sweaty, a little like Dante's character in my mind, and I think, how it works in the game is always a bit of a goofball, like has a little bit of dorky in with his coolness.
I was going to say, he's a real fucking dork. I mean, Trish stunts on him like crazy.
He's a gay cowboy.
Pretty much, yeah. And so I think that shows up in the show, but it feels a little bit like the Gen Z, like, ooh, that happened reaction shot dorky. Instead of your cool dorky. So yeah, it just, some of the goofs that are supposed to be endearing just feel a little bit grating. Again, it was not horrible, but it made me realize how much the game format is working in the aesthetic of Devil May Cry's favor. One choice that I fucking loved was Mary, or Lady, in the show, curses like a sailor.
Okay,
just
nice.
over the top, and she's so bad at it.
Is that intentional?
I kind of went back and forth while watching, like, is this really? But there are some lines that are just so bad that it's like, okay, this is definitely intentional. Like, they're not that incompetent. The main villain is a character that has like a rabbit mask sewn onto his head.
Okay. How else are you going to keep it on?
Yeah. And she's like, I'm gonna find that fucker and shake him until he shits out little rabbit turds.
Ugh.
It's like, oh boy, this is giving off real homeschooler vibes here.
Huh.
But for her character, the orphan that was taken into the demon hunting program or whatever, at least that's the story in the anime. It tracks. It fits with her character real well. So that is an aspect of dorkiness that works for it. But yeah, visually it's a treat, and I was impressed at how many just straight up like, hey, here is a boss from the game, and we're gonna fight them now. Moments there are. And they did not feel obligated to give every single boss and demon a complicated backstory that reveals so much about them. Sometimes there's just a cool ass looking bad guy that you can kick around. So
is there a giant magma spider that is for some reason named Phantom?
No, they don't quite get to that point. But the visual design of quote unquote hell is very cool. And just some of the stuff they play with there. I won't say too much in case someone wants to watch it, but yeah, is well done visually. But yeah, so mostly it made me want to go play like Devil May Cry 5 again or something like that. But it was a noble attempt. Didn't always
Do
succeed.
they maintain the homoerotic over? I want to say undertones, but I would say
Just
overtones.
tone.
Yeah, just tone of the game.
Yes, yeah. There's definitely some eye candy in there. And what is the one of Dante's sidekicks, or his buddy is this little sleazebag guy that is very funny tonally. Yeah, but they make some jokes about Dante's appearance through him that are pretty funny.
Nice.
Yeah. Everyone looks cool in this.
So
looks the 80s definition of cool, we'll say.
how do they handle the gore? Because that was my thing with the Castlevania anime. Is I just found some overlap of the level of gore and how they handled it together just kind of off-putting.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of gore, blood sprays everywhere, but it's all very stylized. And I can't think of an instance from the show where it's gore in terms of like, ooh, this person has to walk on their broken ankle. Watch how in pain they are. It's like, if you slice a demon's head off, there's going to be blood spray.
Okay,
It's
but
like
no
Kill
like
Bill.
babies with their intestines hanging out.
No.
Is that normal in other parts of the Devil May Cry universe?
Oh no, that is normal in the Castlevania anime.
Yeah.
Okay. Man. Yeah. No, none of that. I'm curious now. I think I watched like the first 2 episodes of the old Devil May Cry anime. And that was also on Netflix for a time.
Yeah, I was going to say,
again.
I think that one is generally considered not to be very good. However, I'm kind of an advocate for it, mainly because I think it bullseyes what we said, how much of a dork Dante is.
Yeah, so I'm curious to go try that. But yeah, so that's a piece of video games media that I've enjoyed recently.
Okay.
I find it funny that I'm still not sure we've quite mastered good video game movies, but apparently good video game anime is now something that we can do fairly easy.
Yeah, we've got at least one really good video game TV show, just generally, with Fallout, 1 3/4. If I don't know, maybe one 1.5 with Last of Us. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Huh. Moxie, what you been up to?
Man, not a whole heck of a lot. I'm having family come visit for the 4th of July, so just kind of getting ready for that and kind of recuperating from being all on the go for Pride. So honestly, not a whole heck of a lot. I mean, it's incredibly hot here. It's just the main.
Yeah,
that is the main thing.
3 of the 4 of us are under the dome right now, currently on this call, the heat dome or whatever. But you're getting the worst of it, I think, out in DC.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that one being in a city, like everything's concrete and streets and stuff. And, in particular, like the mall, its whole thing is like, let's have no trees so you can see these amazing sight lines of all the monuments, which is amazing and looks super spectacular, but also means there's nowhere to get away from the heat.
No, I would be walking around with an umbrella, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah. Huh.
So.
Yeah. So just trying to get put back together after a really busy month.
Yep.
Yeah. And doing that pre-company cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Ben, how about you?
I've been doing pretty good. Yeah, I guess I'm the cool one of the group. right?
I mean, sure.
Right?
You think you are?
Damn. I wanna be Funky Kong.
No.
I saw. I guess I always talk about the movies I see. I saw 28 Years Later, which was fun and interesting. A lot of interesting choices in it.
Okay.
It was directed by Danny Boyle and then written by Alex Garland, so it felt like it was moving in two different directions. Where it's like the script was good in the sense that like it was really well written in the sense that like every event like logically leads to the next one. Like it's all like pretty well thought out. The characters are like pretty well fleshed out. Like love that part. The movie's kind of directed like it's a music video. So
I hate that.
It was a little bit weird. Some people are into it. It didn't stick with me, but I don't know. It's a wild one. They're trying to make a trilogy out of it too. So
Isn't this the third one?
it's a new trilogy.
Oh,
yeah. It's the 28-year trilogy specifically.
Recursive trilogy.
Yeah, a nested.
They've got the AI trained on 28X stuff now, so they got to milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah.
So like 28 Days Later was kind of the movie that popularized fast zombies.
Yeah.
Since then, have they added anything? Like, I don't mean that to be super critical, like, did they just have... But I just mean, like, what's kind of been the pitch since then? Does that make sense?
Yeah, they innovated on this one with big zombies. So, like, just really tall zombies. But there's not too many.
Like Resident Evil style?
Yeah, kind of, except they're naked and they got a dong that's, like, flinging around as they're chasing people, so... Yeah, you can enjoy that.
So it's
I feel like media
um,
for the longest time, like, you know, girls could be nude and guys couldn't, and we've flipped the switch and we're making up for lost time now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, just the pure terror of something that doesn't care that its dong is out running straight at you.
Yeah,
I mean, that
point.
is like 50% of Attack on Titan.
Yes. Well, I mean, no.
No, they emphatically do not have dongs.
I just I said that in a kind of funny way, but like there's a reason why the fight scene in Eastern Promises is fucking horrifying, right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, worth a watch if you like movies. It's an interesting one. So.
A lot of media. Yeah.
Side note, to get back into this even more, I got a movie pass. I don't know if I mentioned this on air or not. For like 3 months a time, where it's like you buy it for 3 months and you can see as many movies as you want.
Okay, that's back.
I don't know. I got it specifically through Regal. I feel like it's turning into cable where there's a bunch of these now because I heard like A24 is coming out with one.
Oh no!
But it's specifically only for A24 movies.
That's
anyway. But the surprising twist of this is like getting 3 people to coordinate when to see a movie is surprisingly difficult. So
it's the Dungeons and Dragons problem.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to do some 2 styles on the movie pass, I think.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's a shame.
And I need to see. I think I missed. Is Sinners? Is that like the Southern zombie or not vampire movie?
Yeah. The kind of like the segregation Jim Crow vampire movie.
Crow era.
Yeah. I think I missed that. That's been like the main movie recently I've seen that like looks pretty cool.
Yeah. No, that's really good. Yeah. Sinners is great.
Worth a watch.
I'm sorry, I literally got told this joke on the way home.
Okay.
Right before recording, so now you have to hear it. Which is, what is your favorite vampire in media? I think mine's the one from Sesame Street. Well, that doesn't count. No, I assure you he does.
Oh, okay. No, he does.
That's pretty good.
That's more like a little skit. Like I don't know.
It was a social media post read to me by Jen while I was driving.
Got you. Okay. All right. I was like, just like it's a joke, but you're really counting on somebody saying that doesn't count.
Yeah. You just got to go around telling it to people until it lands.
Yeah.
It's like saying
as
I'm
opposed
psychic.
to someone
think of a
who's
number.
like, no, that makes sense. That tracks.
That tracks. Oh, try again.
Yeah, I've had kind of a long day. I had some dental work done this morning. I had to get 2 fillings, one on each side of my mouth. And my right side, because like numbing and anesthesia don't work on me, I had to get it done twice. So like,
Fuck.
yeah,
Like the Novocaine or
yeah,
the filling?
No, the Novocaine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If it was the filling, yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah. So like, it was fine. Whatever. It's just fillings. I've gotten plenty of them, which makes me sound like some kind of weird like taffy monster, but I'm not. That was done by about like 11, and I had to record at 2, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna, no, we're gonna need to push back. So we recorded for like 2 hours, and like still half of my mouth was numb. And, in addition to my jaw hurting from my mouth being open, and like, I don't know that I don't know that it came through necessarily, but like, I've been doing voice training stuff, and I'm very conscious of the mechanics of my speech, and to have it all just go, bruh, and like
You were on a hard mode for a bit there.
Yeah, on a hard mode a little bit. I mean, just all the training stuff went out the window. Also, I was on a Patreon group call, and I had my webcam on, and the right side of my mouth was drooping, which is really scary. Like, you don't want to see that at all. Nope. Yeah.
Is that called drop face or something like
It's
that?
sometimes evidence of a stroke or some kind of other episode that is really serious. And
By the way,
yeah.
Oh,
good.
Can we call talking on hard mode dark tonsils?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I'm not sure I can get behind.
I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
I'm just here. I'm just present for that, I think.
Which was more painful, that or dental work?
Oh man, I like how quick it was, but it was still a little bit tortured. Yeah.
I feel like though there's got to have been some like survival horror game that revolves around like dental work or dental torture or something you could have done.
Inscription.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or what was the one with the shotgun roulette?
Oh, that was
I think it's shotgun roulette, maybe.
Buckshot
okay.
roulette. Buckshot roulette.
Yeah.
Buckshot roulette. Did that have a teeth pulling thing in it?
No, I don't think it did. Okay. Yeah, I'm reaching for horror games with tooth stuff, and I really am not getting anything. Yeah, I think Inscription might be
surprising.
Yeah, no, it's effective. Yeah, so that's what I've got going on. Thankfully, I'm mostly recovered right now, but yeah, that was a little hazard that I did not anticipate, and I didn't want to reschedule that recording. So, yeah, so that
well done powering through.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just couldn't drink anything while I was recording.
It's a weird sensation.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah, so I think we've got to do the regular kind of show, what with the grind, the multiplayer, and end boss. And why don't we start with The Grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the last period of time or so. Moxie, how about you?
So, I think for this, so I've got a little bit more of The Division, and then Dennis and I kind of collectively have something new.
Okay, yeah, so that could be your segue between you.
Yeah. So The Division, just been continuing on playing it, still working through the backlog of storyline. I think the most interesting thing probably is they've released another temporary event. This one's just called Hollywood.
But
And what it is most of the enemies will have these shields, which it very flimsily explains as some sort of like super anti-bullet technology or whatever.
But it's just a shield.
It's a shield. Well, it makes it so they take very little damage from bullets, but you can get rid of the shield using any sort of like flames or explosions, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And when you get rid of the shield, the enemies simply explode. So it basically just turns every fight into a Michael Bay movie.
Okay.
Hence the name.
Do the enemies' explosions trigger other shields to be taken off? And then
Yes,
explode?
they do.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a weird combination of, depending on your loadout and like what's happening, that sort of thing, any given fight is either incredibly, almost impossibly difficult or just trivially easy. Because, if you don't have any explosives available, it's, super hard to take down a group of enemies. But if you do, I'm currently running a flamethrower build, and so I just kind of sweep the flamethrower over a group of enemies and everything explodes. So, yeah, that's really the main thing with it. Oh, I did confirm, unfortunately, I cannot get to my apartment in-game.
Probably better
I think
for
a
OPSEC.
lot of it is my apartment is actually, like, right in between two of the end-game boss levels.
Do you want to triangulate yourself that much?
Oh, well,
Okay. It's up to you.
So,
We got a good listener base.
Yeah. Be cool. So I forget what you said. Is this being maintained by fans, or was it just like a sleeper team at Ubisoft who like decided to start working on it and see if anybody would stop them?
sleeper team by
Gotcha.
Ubisoft.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I think it's kind of now ramping up for the Division 3. So it seems like there's some some stuff where it's like, oh, everything's coming to a head, that sort of thing. The president got killed, which I don't know makes a lot less of a difference in a post-apocalyptic scenario.
Sorry. When you said that, my body reacted a little bit like a dog when he hears the word walk. Anyway, continue.
But yeah. I don't know. Other than that, it just continues to be kind of a fun game.
Cool. What have you and Dennis been sharing, collabing on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
let's talk Firebreak.
Yeah.
Oh, FBC Firebreak.
Yeah, I will be totally honest. I am never going to remember that acronym. It's like in my brain, it is like letters Firebreak.
Okay. Yeah.
It's actually an SCP thing where those letters in that order are occult and will actually slip past human consciousness.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
You cannot continue.
Yeah, that seems.
It's how to escape notice. So this is the live service shooter that Remedy is making in the Control universe.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which is technically also the Alan Wake universe.
And Quantum Break.
Yes.
Oh, and Quantum Break.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is a co-op shooter. We should specify this is not PvP. This is
Gotcha.
PvE.
Yeah, I think 3-player, right?
3-player PvE. It's not like Left 4 Dead. I'm trying to think of like the co-op shooter that it's the closest analog to, because you're going into these areas of the oldest house to do various chores. Let's call them what they are, and periodically waves of zombies, or this game calls them hiss, spawn in and make your life difficult. But whereas Left 4 Dead is very centered around overwhelming amounts of zombies, this one is much more centered around like interesting and novel objectives.
Okay.
Yeah, and with that, there were, at least so far, there are explicitly no enemies I've seen that punish you for like separating from the team. So there's no like, oh, if you get hit by this enemy, then someone has to rescue you or you die.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's still a good idea to stay near your team. But
theoretically, you have a shield that will not recharge if you're too far from your team. But I'll be honest, I have never consciously noticed having the shield or not. It seems
the shield is weird.
It is a placebo shield.
I mean, that makes sense with the universe's logic.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and the logic is on full display here because some of the objectives are very strange. Like one of them is apparently there's some sort of anomalous sticky notes that simply multiply themselves. Mm-hmm. And
it's like the clocks.
Maybe?
In Control.
Yeah.
I've not actually played Control, so but they've basically figured out that they couldn't figure out a way to eradicate them, so they decide we can just leave them be as long as we periodically send people to get rid of a bunch of them.
Oh,
and so
they turned into a big blob, big monster guy.
No, they are literally just sticky notes all over the stage, like on the walls, on the floors, and
we should specify we were playing on, I think, normal difficulty.
Okay.
Right.
And I know in trailers for the game, I have seen a sticky note monster.
Yeah, it just that's what I'm looking at right now. They lean on that pretty heavily in the promo stuff.
See, I almost like it better the other way, just because it's, in my opinion, it's kind of better when it's just so inane that you are literally trying to take out sticky notes and they will stick to you, so you need to set off this sprinkler system so that the water makes them kind of fall apart and unstick from you.
I mean, the idea of sticky notes that spread like an alien fungus or something. But then I remembered the oldest house has a very bad mold problem.
Yes.
Yeah. It is very much that.
Yeah.
Which I kind of realized on one of the other missions that we'll talk about, the pink goo mission. What do you call that? Insulation foam?
It sort of looks like that.
Fiberglass.
Yeah. It's so you're trying to restart these generators, but this pink foam has started overtaking the floor. And literally gets so bad that you basically have to dig through it Deep Rock Galactic style. There it is. That's the analog. It's Deep Rock Galactic.
Okay.
Yes, that's
so like what you say it's these unique objective kind of things. Like, did they have you doing anything different play wise, or is it just a cool theme about running to a particular spot and then defending it and then getting back to where you came from?
There definitely are differences. So, for example, the sticky notes was just straight up there are thousands of sticky notes on this level. Destroy at least 1,500 of them.
Okay.
Whereas some of the others, one of them is a cart pushing thing that's relatively normal. There's some stuff that kind of shakes up, but relatively normal. But then there's also things, so the pink mission, in a lot of ways, was very much just you're trying to repair the generators, so it's hey, find these parts, take them here, stand there for a while things repair, very traditional, that sort of thing. But the pink, slime stuff is just so weird that it completely changes the way the game works. Especially because, by the end of the thing, it's getting to the point where, it regrows almost as fast as you can destroy it.
Okay.
So you're literally having to, empty entire magazines to as you're running, just destroying it in front of you.
Well, and that was an interesting thing. So it's a class-based shooter. There's and they call them kits. There's the fix kit, there's the water kit, and then I think they call it the splash kit. And one other, you were using the fix kit, I was using the splash kit. And it got to the point on that pink foam mission that it regrew so fast that I could not move through it. I had to basically put my hand on Moxie's shoulder and follow them through the maze as they were clearing the way. So, it was very interesting to see like them even on this normal difficulty mode push it to like no, you are going to have to play unique roles eventually here.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, it seems to do it that sort of thing semi-dynamically. I think a lot of times it's any class can solve the thing. It's just the right class can do it dramatically easier. So, for example, like with the Fix-It kit, normally to repair something, you have to do this mini game where basically it will repeatedly show you either left or right, and you have to press the appropriate button as quickly as you can, and you take damage if you get it wrong.
It's binary Helldivers.
Yes. Whereas if you're playing as the Fix-It kit, you can just equip your wrench and just hit it to repair.
The Han Solo approach.
Exactly.
Don't you mean the Fonzie approach?
Oh, well, that too. That's probably a better reference. I'm thinking of the scene in Star Wars where Han, they start up, it boots down, and he smacks it, and it comes back on.
Ah, okay.
Which I remember hearing somewhere was unscripted. Like, literally, the lights did fail, and Harrison Ford did smack them, and they did, in fact, come back on.
I mean, that seems...
It sounds like him, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, other than that, you've got two kind of... controllers that are helping you. And from what I can see, one's kind of the mild-mannered, more professional straight man type thing, whereas the other guy is kind of more, cynical, that sort of thing. And the dialogue, at least, suggests that he is maybe permanently in some sort of iron lung or something.
Okay.
The old housiness of this, or oldest housiness of this, is through the roof, pun intended, and I think that is where the game has a lot of charm versus doing anything that is mechanically completely new, or unseen before.
Yeah, I mean, and that's Control as well. Like, it's pretty par for the course for Control and Remedy in general. Do you see is Jesse at all involved in that, or do you run into Ati, or are they saving that for later on?
Again, no spoilers. I haven't beaten Control yet.
Okay, these are characters you meet in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. I know the your character in Control, at least as far as I've played, is the director of the house or whatever.
Yeah.
And there are at least references to that. Just to because you're technically her employees, I guess. And so there are references to that.
Well, and the thing that was interesting for me, especially because I was playing Control and Firebreak in very close proximity, was the tonal difference is stark. Control is very self-serious, dealing with some absurd stuff, but it's a suspense story.
Oh, it's straight up. It's Half-Life 2 and Portal.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Firebreak feels like Team Fortress 2. So to have the one so overtly reference the other was a little bit jarring for me. The enemies are the Hiss, which is straight out of Control. And things on that level, it was but that doesn't belong here, because that's the serious stuff.
Oh,
we have the wacky stuff here.
Here, my question.
Go on.
So Control has made a Deep Rock Galactic game. Deep Rock Galactic made a Vampire Survivors game. Does Vampire Survivors need to make a Control game to close the loop?
Let's complete the cycle.
I mean, it can technically go on forever as long as there's always an intermediate step that resolves back to Control. Yeah. So I don't know who's making it next.
Yeah, I guess we just have to wait and see what Vampire Survivors is doing next, and that will tell us where
I mean, that would
leads.
not be the weirdest crossover they've had.
True.
Kaye, you described this as a live service shooter, which absolutely it's designed for. I think that this setting is uniquely good for that because of the potential to do like crazy, absurd, weird stuff.
Yeah, just to expand it. Like technically, the space inside of it is infinite. You know, all they have to do is there's nothing like logically limiting a lot of the things.
Well, and it's also the aesthetics like of your character and their gear. I don't know. It looks to me like a BBC like sci-fi costumes.
Yeah, it's pretty goofy looking.
Yeah, very very much so. So I'm not sure that I want to see like AI Darth Vader, but
Right. I think the big thing for me is that part of the fun is figuring out what the gimmick of this particular mission is.
oh yeah.
And there's some where you just have to like turn back on some furnace fans, but we didn't realize that the control panel was actually on the other side of the fan. And if you dick around too long after turning it on, you are trapped on the other side of a crazy fast spinning giant fan.
Ooh.
And at least that we could figure out, do not have another way across other than to just die.
Oof.
Which the convention is then that the director sends another person down the elevator to help. So
yeah.
it was a little bit of like all right, you got me. Now I know when I restart the fan, I need to run out very quickly. And everything, there's nothing that was like puzzle difficulty, but every mission has a little bit of a learning curve like that. And so having new stuff thrown at you constantly, I think fits very well with that kind of situation.
And so that runs into like the complaint that I've seen about this is that you kind of stop seeing new stuff pretty quickly, is what people are saying. And that like this feels like it was put out like a little bit too early or with not enough in it to justify the fact that it's not like a free to play like everybody expects or whatever, right?
Yeah. I mean, part of this it also is if you have Game Pass, it is a free to play.
Okay.
And I don't know how you do the calculus of that, but like this to me feels like a really amazing free game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is the standard business model, which is put out something that has just enough to like exist, demonstrate you can get traction behind it, and then figure out how to make a game,
and then do seasons to fill it out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think the ideal scenario would be to do like a Payday 2 thing and just have each of the levels have a whole bunch of random variants of how the missions can go down. I don't know if they'll do that, but I think that would be ideal.
Yeah.
I could see like random special enemies or random modifiers to a given mission also going a long way.
And I think they
do
have that to at least some degree, I think.
Yeah, I have not yet played on a difficult enough mode to see everything that the game throws at you, but I imagine there's stuff like that in there. And I think while it's kind of crappy that that's the way games get made now, at least it fits this game better than it does most.
Yeah, the monster of the week genre having actual monsters of the week seems good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm interested to see because I haven't heard any of the kind of business story behind this. Like usually with this sort of stuff, there'll be a lot of story. Well, like for example, with The Division, like when The Division 2 shut down, who was it, EA or Ubisoft was like, yeah, we're gonna make like a live service, like free to play game, and then everyone was like, yeah, we're not going to buy that.
Yeah.
And that came back. So my point being, I haven't heard any like why did this game company that only makes narrative games suddenly make a live service game?
I think they just wanted to try. I don't know that their stuff sells really well, so it's not like out of, trend chasing in order to stay afloat.
Right. Well, and
I think it might be trend chasing
when,
on the business side. I'm preparing to teach my class for next semester and doing a refresh on all the industry stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, this is textbook how you build out a game business model wise.
Yeah,
for better or for worse. But this is a very rational way to do a game from a business model standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
See, to me, this almost feels like Alan Wake is only like a year or two old or something. This almost feels to me like someone's pseudo side project that like eventually got the green light.
Like a Night Rain.
Alan Wake is only a year or two old?
Yeah, I thought he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
I thought it came out when we were in college.
Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2.
2.
Yeah, the one that everybody talks about is only a couple years old.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I wonder that myself, though, is like how much of this is like they do like a game jam at work and then they're like, hey, maybe we'll make an actual game out of this versus like someone's like, I want to make this game and like, let me do it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Is there anything? I don't know that I have any more questions. I think you answered it. I was just very curious, like if it did start to feel samey, or if you just hadn't explored all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Not samey yet, but I also have not explored all of it.
Yeah.
And I will say it's my main takeaway is it's amazing how much pink can stop sounding like a word.
They just keep throwing it around, just like, oh no, there's too much pink around here. Like,
yep.
Huh. Can the pink like hem you in and like crush you and kill you, or is it just there to stop you?
It can explode, strangely enough.
Okay.
It can also hem you in with a giant monster that is trying to mash you.
Yes.
So while it is not specifically the pink doing it, it is the pink enabling it, which is reason enough alone to fear the pink.
On the level of things that would be unacceptable if this wasn't a control game, there is a very in-depth elemental system where like things can get wet or hot or electrified or covered in pink or in sticky notes, and that
or
has
on fire, which is different than hot.
Right. And that can impact how enemies behave and that sort of thing. But again, in something that would be unacceptable if this wasn't control, I have no idea what any of those do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought
there were
enemies,
definitely pink enemies. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I thought that enemies being on fire was a concretely bad thing because it made the hiss more aggressive. Until I looked at my skill tree and saw that there were feats or perks that set enemies on fire. So I was like, wait, do I want them to be on fire? I don't understand.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, that sounds like FBC Firebreak to me. Let's see. Dennis, what else have you been getting into?
Yeah, I've been gone 2 weeks, so you guys better buckle up.
Okay.
The natural segue is I finished Control, finally.
Okay.
I saw Firebreak coming out and was talking with Moxie about it and was like, you know what I should do? I was only like 2 or 3 hours from the end. So, finished that relatively quickly. That's a fun game. Mechanically doesn't do anything incredibly new, but just vibes wise, I just want to spend more time in the oldest house.
Remedy's trick.
Yep. And apparently it is possible to beat this game while just completely missing a major mechanic. When I loaded it back up for the first time, I was like, okay, I got to remember all my tricks and buttons. So I just opened the control panel in options to look through, and I was like, wait, what is shield?
Yeah.
I had never found the shield. I just never got it. Played the entire game.
That's the one that like gathers up a bunch of stuff around you to form a barrier?
Yeah, it's like one of 3 things you can do.
Yeah,
I just never got it.
I remember that being like hidden in a way that made it feel like, well, why didn't you just give this to me? Like, why did no main objective take me here?
Yeah, it is a side quest, and I just, I did a couple of side quests, and then just decided like, I'll critical path Johnny this.
Yeah. Is it the mirror Jesse quest that you have to do to get that, or do you have to go?
I wouldn't know because I didn't get it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I don't immediately recognize anything to do with Jesse in a mirror, so probably that raises the chance that
it's a standout scene if you've seen it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But I do like that at the end game of Control, and without saying anything specific, sets you up to spend more time in the oldest house, very, very diegetically, and that's that's perfect. Is for what I want to just experience that and see fun ideas in that. The game seems to know that and delivers on that, so I appreciate that.
Did you play the DLC Foundation and then AWE?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I did.
I haven't either. I was just curious if like you had some kind of complete edition that took you in that place.
Yeah. I will say, just thinking of the Foundation, I love how just incredibly off the rails the environments get. Yeah, they did not hold back with going crazy with it. I've talked the other hosts' ears off, so I won't go in depth. But I also finished Control at the same time that I was reading House of Leaves for the first time. And man, those are two great tastes that taste great together. That was a trip.
Yeah, obviously a huge inspiration for and like more so like Alan Wake stuff. But yeah, even with Control, just the liminal space kind of deal. Yeah.
So that's Control. Another quick hit is for iRacing. I won my division, which this is the first season that I like knuckled down. I was like, okay, I'm actually going to focus on a series, like basically a specific car is on a track, every week, and it's a season of racing, just like is in Formula One, etc. And this is the first time I like knuckled down and really focused on one series. It's split into divisions. I was Division 6, so that's not, not the top, not the bottom, just whatever, but it's people that are supposed to be the same skill level, and I won the division, got a certificate and everything. I feel special. So that's fun. Nothing else to say on that. It was a little fun thing. All right, so two big new games that I wanted to talk about. The first one is Splitgate 2.
Oh, the one moved by the MAGA hat guy.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, and we are going to spend as much time talking about the controversy around this game instead of the game,
the guy just seems kind of like
their CEO is a dickweed.
Yeah. So you played the original one, right? I'm actually kind of more interested in hearing about the game than talking about the guy because he's just a dipshit.
Yeah. Yes. Well, what I'll say is, the Summer Games Fest announcement came out. He came out wearing a hat with a slogan on it that was just stupid.
Make shooters great again or something like that.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what, but I believe him when he says he was just trying to do something provocative, whatever. But the initial reaction when everyone was like, hey, not fucking cool, was to very explicitly be like, not apologizing. I'll just clarify what I meant by it. Didn't mean anything political with this political hat.
Right.
And at that point, I literally I returned the game. I bought the starter, pass or whatever and was excited for it. And I was like, this is just, there's too much good stuff out there. This is not worth it. This guy's going to double down and be an asshole. And then a couple days later, I saw he came out and after saying not apologizing, very overtly came out and said, I'm apologizing.
Yeah.
So, now I'm apologizing.
Now that returns are coming in, I'm apologizing.
My accountant has told me that I'm apologizing.
Yeah. And, I guess it is, I'm, of the cynical mindset that it's not that he had a change of heart. It just became the right thing business-wise. We've seen that with, Pride Month under an administration that's hostile to Pride.
Yeah.
It's all business. But it is unique to see someone, he feels like a little bit of a cult of personality over at that studio to actually, instead of just infinitely doubling down with daddy's money, to come out with an apology that is like no excuses, no yeah buts or passive aggressive stuff. That was stupid. I'm an idiot. And he literally was like, and here are the things we're going to do differently. One of them is you are not going to be hearing from me more because clearly I am bad at this.
Okay. Yeah.
And to his credit, he has shut the fuck up. So,
cool.
that has now allowed me to enjoy Splitgate 2. So let's talk about the game. It is Halo with portals, and that is the same as with the first one. And it is incredibly polished in terms of the launch. I think with any game, I go in expecting server issues and hit rate stuff. I mean, we just finished talking about how the model now is launch something that is just barely held together with tape, see if people like it, and then build a game. Splitgate 2 is a great game and well made out of the gate. Didn't have a single server hiccup even when things were at their most intense.
Yeah.
I think some people did. That wasn't my experience, but just like it is so refreshing to start playing a new game the day it launches and just have it work. And I can't believe that is a standout thing, but it is.
Yeah. Well, and it's not doing easy stuff. Like mass scale, fast paced shooter with portal stuff. Like that's a lot to keep track of.
Pretty much any part of the level needs to be ready to be connected to any other part of the level at any instant for any player. So technologically, this is a really cool thing to play. The differences from the first game are subtle, but very, very important. And a lot of it is on the design side. So it's not like there were like massive technological advances that have allowed them to do more. Although I'm sure they're making use of better technology now than with the first game. But it's in the way the levels are designed and laid out. The first game was very much set up like Portal, where the maps were clearly designed around you finding crazy ways to fling yourself around the level. A lot of walls were placed. You can only place your portals on certain walls, which helps control the craziness.
Yeah.
But a lot of walls were placed very high up or at angles meant to like launch you. And so it was very focused around the momentum. The problem, however, is that just gets in the way of good gunplay.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming for new players. So there's a higher skill cap on it. But two, while it seems really cool on paper to like launch yourself through the air, traveling in a long, consistent arc is not the best for not getting shot out of the sky.
No. Like, how to lead shots. You're just going to get blown out of the air with a rocket.
Well,
I mean,
especially
you'll look cool
if
doing
it's
it.
a long, consistent arc that there are only a finite number of.
Yes. Yeah. So the levels in Splitgate 2 are designed where you still at any given moment can see 3 or 4 different places to portal and can zip around the level really fast. But mostly it is built around like flanking or kind of being in unexpected locations rather than the physics of launching yourself around. So it feels like just a little bit more of an intentional design on that front. The other thing is that in the first game, partially because there were all these elevated walls, a lot of the game revolved around like placing a portal high up and then going and hiding somewhere with the other side of the portal and using it as a sniper perch. And it's just unfun, right? And so the sight lines for portal walls are such that there are way fewer quote unquote sniper perches in the level. And it's hard to do because you can, like I said, you can always see somewhere to zip around with portals, but it's just designed in such a way that none of those walls, while they are viewable from a lot of spots, it is not like they are a crow's nest. I don't know if that makes sense, but those two changes alone just give the maps a very different feel. And it makes it more focused on the gunplay in a way that really works. And the gunplay is good, so it's appropriate to focus there. And at the same time, it doesn't diminish how cool it is to portal to the other side of the level or suddenly show up behind someone that doesn't realize where you've gone. Like all that's still in there. It's just without some of the more grating elements that were in the first game.
Okay.
A major change that at first I hated, like I think I've had my biggest 180 on how much I liked a change on this, is that effectively if you're standing just on the other side of your portal, there's a bit of bullet magnetism. So if you fire into an enemy's portal, the bullets 100% will adjust course to hit the person if they're just on the other side.
Okay.
Which
that's kinda
feels
cool.
yeah, it feels infuriating though the first couple times that you set up a sniper's perch or set up a portal that you're camping through, for lack of a better term, and someone nails you through it, or you escape through a portal and still get killed. And the first couple times that happens, you're just like, why would they do this? This is objectively bad. Why? I hate this. This doesn't feel right, until you realize like this is an amazing choice for disincentivizing portal camping.
Okay.
And so just like, they don't have bird's eye view portal walls anymore, they've also made it so even if you do kind of camp out on one of those sight lines, you're a little bit more vulnerable. And if someone knows exactly where your portal is, it's not a ton of bullet magnetism, but it is enough to make you think twice about camping like that.
Yeah, that seems necessary.
It's a choice. I never would have thought to articulate that they needed to do that. And again, the first time it happened, I thought it was stupid. I was angry because I got killed, and I don't like to lose. But as you play, you realize that, it does a lot to smooth out the game. And there's counterplay to it because, escape through your portal, just make sure you turn immediately left or immediately right to get out of the sight line of that portal. And, which you're probably wanting to do anyway. So it just, it changes the way you play a little bit, but that improves the feel of the game a lot.
I'm sure people pissed and they moaned about that when they got rid of their easy source of kills.
I cannot imagine any beta tester group thought it was a good idea. So kudos to whoever on 1047 side stuck to their guns and said no, this makes the game better, because it absolutely does. It feels like eating your veggies at first, and then you're like, oh wait, this is good.
This makes sense.
There's also now
Do
a class.
they justify it at all? Is there any in-game when you go through the portal, you get portal radioactive?
No, the game can't decide how much it cares about lore or things being
I hate
diegetic.
that. Just make it do Rocket League shit. Just say this is how it is. This is a game.
Yeah. Each of the, I was about to say there's a class-based system now. It's pretty light, but it's there. And every single, each class, there are 3, but each class has a description that's very prominent on the page whenever you pick them, telling you oh, these are the hardened veterans from Optimus Prime that, celebrate their culture of winning by blah, 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 blah. It's some real lore nerd shit. But then, there's other stuff that's just who cares? Make up your own story. The classes are really interesting though. So every class has unique equipment that you can select one of 3 pieces. And then a unique ability that is inherent to the class. One of them is a little radar ping that marks your enemies on a map for your teammates. The second puts up a wall that you can shoot through, but enemies can't.
Okay.
And then the third basically has you move at hyperspeed for a little bit. The equipment is a little more varied class to class. But then each gun type, while everyone has a shotgun and a battle rifle and a assault rifle and an SMG, each class's version of that weapon is a little bit different. And the amount of variety that adds is really refreshing, because you can know the battle rifle for one class and be real comfortable with that, and then have the battle rifle for another class
handled completely differently.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually saw they were asking players about how much they liked it. I got the vibes that maybe there's been complaints about it, but I think it's been nice. The other thing that every class has is a passive ability. So one starts your health regen faster for everyone on the team. One has your equipment recharge faster, and one has your special ability recharge faster. And so just by having one of each class on your team, you are helping. Your team is stronger because of the passive abilities, just by people choosing to diversify.
I'm sorry, how big are teams?
4 people in the main arena mode. There are 8-person teams, however, in Onslaught, they call it. It's just like larger arenas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's very easy to fill out and like, have one of each. And it's not a huge boost, but like, having your health regen start 20% earlier is the difference between living and dying in a lot of situations.
Oh yeah.
Having that grenade ready to go or not is a huge tactical advantage. And so, those passive abilities, oddly, are the things that have stood out to me the most about the classes. That's Splitgate 2. It is a good time. And if the developer can continue to keep their mouth shut and, not be unnecessarily provocative, I think it's got a bright future ahead of it.
Oh, cool. How long ago did Splitgate 1 come out?
Like a decade.
Oh, wow.
It's been
That's
so
a long
long.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly long.
Huh.
They got a lot of investor money to make Splitgate 2.
I imagine.
And I can't imagine what the calls with those investors looked like the day after that announcement.
You're really screwing this up, dude.
It was so easy to do right, and you fucked it up so bad.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious. I didn't really care to engage with it, that sort of thing. So I only caught some of the like osmosis stuff. I had it was presented to me as it was intended to be mocking Trump.
Satire.
Again, like
satire
I have no
requires-
idea if that's just people whatevering.
Yeah.
Well, and some people were pointing out like Hideo Kojima did a "Make Movies Great Again" hat or something like that.
That also sucked, but he's from outside the context of America too.
Yeah. It's like
He's also
yes.
Kojima. I mean, I'd expect him to do weird shit.
Without relitigating all the ways he went about it. Basically, what he tried to say was like, no, there is no parody, there is no politics to this. It is just us saying we want to make first-person shooters great.
I'm real sorry, bud. You don't get to decide. You don't get to decide that. Actually,
yes. So that whatever.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I'll say is technically the other big thing wrong with that announcement was they announced a battle royale mode, but I pretend it doesn't exist, and you will be perfectly happy. I have not touched it since the first day I dropped in just to see once what it was about. I was like, yeah, this is completely unnecessary, and went back to the arena.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will continue to pretend like that doesn't exist and move on to the next game, unless you guys have other questions.
No. I mean, it sounds like they made some positive improvements, or at least thinking about the experience of their game.
Yeah, the design thought behind this game is very evident, and they're doing a very good job with it. So I appreciate that. So then the next game, I guess this is a little bit of a two-parter. My kids finished Lost in Random for me.
Okay.
I played Lost in Random, the Tim Burton-ass adventure game, where you have a dice that you throw in combat. I played it. It was a little too talky for me, a little too slow, and I fell away. And then just randomly, my kids found it and started playing it and loved it. They caught up to where I was, past where I was, and finished the story. And so I kind of obliquely have gotten to the end of it.
Okay.
It is interesting how, I won't say well plotted out it is, how plotted out it is. Like there's a lot of really intertwining characters and story beats and everything that all come together. It is just an amount of love for this kind of new IP or new universe that is very evident. Wasn't for me. My kids, like I said, loved it, but there's a lot of care behind it. But then, as if it was meant to be for them to find this game at this time, I saw that a sequel had come out called Lost in Random: The Eternal Die, which first off is a freaking amazing name.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah. That's, I don't know, just with that specific world that's all dice and board game themed, The Eternal Die is excellent. No notes. But it is a complete genre change from the first game. So...
Okay, so the Eternal, it makes me feel like it's going to be a like a roguelike kind of thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is Hades, essentially.
Oh, okay.
It cribs very close to Hades. So an action roguelike from that isometric perspective.
Is it
has,
super horny like Hades?
Well, the main character is a child, so they can only go so far with that.
Yeah,
that
probably.
does tend to be a problem.
I thought for a little bit, like how to comment on that is it is definitely not as horny as Hades. However, it surprised me how directly and closely it tied into the end of the first game. And a whole bunch of plot points about the characters and their motivations and their histories and everything all relate directly to the story of the Eternal Die and how the game is structured, to the point where if you come to this one having not played the other game, you probably would feel kind of lost. And that's really unfortunate because the Eternal Die is an excellent game. And I would hate to think that the kind of obtuseness of the lore is scaring anyone off. But my main thought is that what was too talky for me and too Tim Burton for me in the original game as this kind of action-adventure game, the tone and everything works really well in just like Hades-style little back-and-forth quips.
Okay.
Like that new genre, a new paradigm for how the story is told, forces them to be concise and just kind of get you to the chorus of what's going on in a way that sands off the rough edges that were bothering me in the original. So yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised by that. What I was even more pleasantly surprised by is just how well this plays. So. I don't know. I don't want to say it's faster than Hades, but it is zippier than Hades.
Okay.
Just your strikes are fast, your dodge is very quick, and as you get familiar with the game, the speed at which you're making decisions and moves, it just feels really good. You feel it's got that cool factor of like, oh yeah, I'm like a pinball in this arena bouncing off of enemies. That can't even keep track of me. So if anything moves faster than Hades does. The setup of having kind of a weapon with a main and a special is there. However, your special changes based on what card you're carrying. And it's kind of funny. The first Lost in Random was had a strong deck building component. The Eternal Die completely eschews that, and it's just like the cards are symbolic of your special attack.
Okay, so you're not like throwing a dice or picking up a card randomly and luck of the draw.
Exactly.
Okay. It's no more or less random than any other roguelike like this.
Correct. Now there is an element you are throwing the dice, but where in the original game that like stopped time and allowed you to maneuver around the field and play cards and kind of set traps and all this stuff. In this one, the dice just functions as your ranged attack.
Okay.
So you're literally just bonking people in the head with dice.
Well, they have corners.
Exactly, and how much damage you deal depends on what side it lands on. So, the funny thing is, it feels very different because it's essentially like a bomb that you're lobbing. There's an area of effect where it lands, and then similar to Hades, you have to go pick it up again before you can fire it again. And that just makes for a very satisfying ranged attack where you kind of use it to initiate, kind of throw this bomb into a group of enemies, and then leap in yourself to both pick the die back up and clean up all the enemies that you initially hit. So that is kind of a different feeling ranged attack than I've seen before, and works pretty well. The other thing that is very cool is the upgrade system. So just like Hades, you have, at the end of each arena that you clear, you'll have in Hades it's a boon, here it's a relic dropped in that you interact with and then make a choice of one of three options. In the Eternal Die, you then place that on a grid, and each relic that you pick up has one or more colors to it. And as you place them in this grid, you're trying to match 3 with the colors, which then gives you a passive boost to one of your stats, weapon damage or critical percent or et cetera. And so there's a little bit of like a space management and match 3 aspect to leveling up. That's just kind of a fun little mini game that you're playing within. Because, you might want to take one relic that seems objectively stronger on paper, but this other one that's weaker completes a set of 3 and fits on the grid in a place where you want. And so you wind up going with that instead. And so it's just kind of a fun little strategic layer that makes it less... I guess in Hades, you kind of eventually learn, like, okay, these are the powers that I want off of these boons. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty much a snap pick when you open it up. Like, you know exactly what you want almost before you open it. With this, there's a little more nuance every time. Because the boosts you get off of matching 3 are significant. So kind of a creative way to go about it there.
Yeah. So if I'm being honest, this does not, I think maybe because you're describing it purely in terms of Hades stuff, this does not sound appreciably different enough to justify itself in the face of Hades, especially with Hades 2 being out and kind of re-grabbing headlines every couple of months with each new big update.
Yeah, I mean, I will not contradict you on that.
Okay.
What I will say is as I mentioned earlier, it's clear the team behind Lost in Random has a lot of love for this universe, and apparently really wanted to make an action roguelite in this universe, and they have done the best possible job of that. Now, whether that warrants, not playing Hades 2 in favor of this, probably not. But as hey, I'm playing something that is a well-made game, very fun, and is clearly a passion project for the team. That holds up.
So it'll be something to play between Hades 2 updates.
Yeah, basically. And honestly, there are worse things to be in this world.
Yeah. It's just, I would not want to be competing in that space. I really wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, this is all me imagining, but I imagine this team being like, oh my gosh, they think of us as the game that we play between Hades updates. That's amazing. Yeah. They think we're like Hades. Very, very endearing overall world. Again, the Tim Burton-ness got grating in the first game. The format of the second game makes it a lot more palatable.
Yeah.
And has been a lot of fun. Especially, I guess I am biased because I'm effectively playing with a cheering section.
Okay.
Because I'll put it up on the big screen. My kids are watching me play.
Yes.
And again, they love the first game.
Uh-huh.
And so there's big shouts of recognition when a new character shows up from the first game, or no, Dad, get that one, put that one. No, you get the, So that probably influences my experience as well.
Yeah. Cool.
Mm-hmm. That is me.
That's what you got. Ben, how about you?
Yeah, I got a weird one this week, and a weird level milestone where instead of talking about games that we have played, I'm talking about games that I have not played.
Okay.
So this is kind of like a news story, but I was going to talk about the Marvel Snap controversy over the past week.
I am completely unaware of this.
Okay. I wasn't sure how widespread it was because one of my friends who had played the game previously, but then had stopped playing maybe a year or two ago. He said he had heard news about it and so was asking me about it. So I wasn't sure.
Was this the one where they fired all the Americans?
Nope.
Okay, different one.
They They do have controversies every couple of years or so. But this one is tied to, they released a game mode last week. And it was an iteration on a game mode that they had tried before, and it was relatively successful. It's supposed to be an even quicker version of the game where it's played in 3 rounds instead of 6. And it's supposed to just,
I was gonna say, how can you get quicker than Marvel Snap?
Yeah, well, it's normally
can't even finish saying the name and you're done with the game.
Yeah, it's normally a 6-round game. The mode that they originally had, it was 3 rounds, so you basically do everything quicker. And yeah, I don't know. It's usually limited time events, so it's kind of something new to try or something different. The problem, and they've done limited games. They do this every couple months or so. They'll have a new game mode that you can try out. The problem with this one in particular is they'll usually have rewards for each of these as well, and like a shop that's tied to the game event. So if you play the game event, build up like this new economy and buy like whatever the reward is. And typically there's like 1 to 3 new cards that you can like go after. But the key thing about it is like it's pretty feasible to get all the rewards if you play like, either every day or like 5 out of 7 days or something like that. With this release, the card that they released cost $100 to buy. Yes, if you want to buy it outright. And the issue is like the store or the like free to play like economy. There's no possible way to be able to earn the card through playing like normally. And so that was kind of a shock to most people because they had never done that sort of thing before. And like at best you could get a discount of like maybe half off or something like that. But it's like, but given that like a monthly pass is like $10, like a single card for 10 times the price, like did not seem justified, especially because like the power level of the card didn't immediately seem that great either. It seemed okay. But, anyway, so there's like a lot of backlash from the crowd, like, "Hey, why are you doing this? This seems like a terrible idea," or whatever. And I think things really flared up last Friday. They released communications about it and basically said, "We're sorry that we didn't communicate this properly, but basically this is like what we want to do the way forward. Like we want to have more of these types of releases."
So whereas case studying the right way to do an apology with Splitgate and the wrong way to do an apology with Snap.
Sorry, we were not clear. This thing you hate is going to be the way it is forever now. I'm so sorry that we didn't underline that enough for you.
I'm sorry you don't like this.
Yeah. So like a lot of people have been like boycotting it or like saying to delete your account, blah, blah, blah. And so basically I kind of stopped playing because it's like, I mean, there's literally no point in playing the game mode for me at least because it's like there's no real reward I could go after in playing it. And so it's like, it was that combined with a couple other things. I think like another kind of problem with the meta of the game is they'll do rebalance issues like every month usually, and it's usually to kind of like nerf a little bit whatever the like dominant deck is, and maybe buff a few cards that are being underplayed. And usually that seems fine and that seems fair because it's like it gets boring to play the same deck over and over again. However, there's kind of this like subtle pattern going on with it where the decks that are dominant are typically tied to the cards that are new and fresh and that you have to pay money for. And those will typically get nerfed not long after they go into the shop where like a free-to-play player can purchase them. And so it's like it's kind of starting to feel like, even if you want to buy this like cool card right now, it's just going to get nerfed down into like uselessness. And like if you really want to play or feel powerful or play with the best cards, like you need to pay money in order to do that. So it's feeling more and more like a pay-to-win type game than a free-to-play type game. So it's like, take all this criticism with a grain of salt because I have still to this day not spent a cent in the game, and I've played like hundreds of hours into it. But at the same time, it's just like, so that sort of stuff combined with also like an increase in like bugs. They've recently started self-publishing because of like the tariff stuff and the owned by ByteDance and going offline for a few days earlier in the year. And I remember talking about that as a news story because they had great communication at that point, and they like brought people back, gave like an abundance of rewards to apologize for it, like did all the right things. But like here, that is like completely gone. And so it's kind of hard to say what's happening. It seems like maybe things are shifting behind the scenes where a lot of the primary designers and developers are moving on to maybe a different game, and this is getting handed off to like the B team now. But yeah, like even today with like one of the most recent updates, like the overlaps on cards like aren't lining up correctly, and like some aren't being rendered and stuff like that. And these are like problems that have never existed before in the game. So it's just kind of like a dumpster fire.
Deteriorating,
right yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a bummer. I'll wait and maybe go. I'm not going to say that I'll never play it again, but like I definitely want to wait until they communicate more favorably with the customers and have more of an understanding of how the customers feel, I guess. Yeah. And I guess I'm using customers loosely since again I haven't paid anything in the game, but
still,
yeah. Player base, I guess, is better. Anyway, so that whole kind of shit show went on the past week.
The people they rely on to continue being a business.
Yeah. So anyway, shake my head. So I don't have too much outside of that. The other games that I've been playing are trying to fill that void now. So I played a little bit of Magic the Gathering. I played the Final Fantasy set that's out.
Okay.
Not for me. I'm going to wait until Cube comes out before I play that again. And then I went back to Super AutoPets, and that's what I've played kind of more so the past few days. But
need my fix, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know that I've seen you like this since Storybook Brawl went down.
Yeah, I know. It's getting flashbacks of that, though. Yeah, where it's like, it feels like a rug pull sort of thing, where it's like, it's just amazing to see it turn from great to bad in like just a few days, but for a few actions, It just is like, wow, I didn't know it could be that tenuous, the whole experience. So, yeah. I don't know. I feel like I've already talked about Super AutoPets before when I played it before, so it's still a good game. No idea if I'm playing against human or computer players when I play it, but it's still fun. So
nice.
Yeah, that's all I got.
And that's what you got. Okay. I really don't have much of anything. Labyrinth of the Demon King eased out a little bit. So this is the game I've been streaming. I had a lot of trouble with the first dungeon of it. And after I got through that, that's when they really give you the ability to upgrade your weapon. And that was my biggest problem, was with the way that every attack drained so much stamina, and with how many hits enemies took to take down, you had to kind of be perfect about not being hit because you were going to be in battle for a long time. Now with an upgraded weapon that I'm focusing just on making better, things go down quickly, and suddenly this feels like a video game and not some kind of experiment designed to make me suffer on stream. For people who are unaware, this is the Kingsfield alike that is kind of set in a medieval Japan horror kind of thing, where you're trying to kill the Demon King, and he's in his labyrinth made of many towers.
And that might answer my question. Is it the sort of game where focusing on that one weapon can carry you all the way through?
Based on a guide that I read, yeah. There are some, there are enemies that frustratingly require different types of damage. So there's one that will never stay dead unless you stun it and then hit it very hard with a blunt weapon. You basically have to crush its head in order to keep it down. Otherwise, it's going to keep coming back. But by and large, the blacksmith guy will say hey, I will repair your broken sword that you brought into the game, that you came in with, but you need to find another sword to kind of use as the basis for it. And there are different swords that have different, different katana that have different stat effects on it. There's a poison one. And I think I just picked up a bleed one, but I just used the kind of the basic, kind of royal sword or whatever to, make this just a general all-arounder. So it's not a very long game. I'm actually pretty close to being done with it. The first dungeon seems to be the bulk of the body of the game, unfortunately.
But that's a thing that happens.
Yeah. So
the levels themselves are getting shorter. It's not just that they're easier as well.
It feels like it anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
So all together, do you feel like this is, I don't know, a game that justifies itself?
I mean, aesthetically, it's really great. And the play is not especially bad. I think that it's just a matter of tuning. It's just a matter of tuning and some frustrating decisions with the way that level ups are handed out. I try to stay out of easy mode, hard mode discourse or whatever. This does feel like there is something crying out, at least for mods, if you want to give yourself a little bit of a leg up on the power curve. As it stands, it's very hard to recommend because of how frustrating that opening going is. I was carried along by good old fashioned stubbornness. People who have watched me stream know that I hate quitting things. But yeah, but also just by like, oh, like there's enough cool stuff here that I want to give it a chance, right? So, yeah. And also like there's not an awful lot in this genre of Kingsfield likes, right? Like the last one that came out was one of my favorite games that I played that year that we covered it, but was Lunacid, and that was kind of like 2 years ago, I think. Yeah. So like it's getting better, but I don't know if at the current moment I would say like without reservation go and pick it up.
Now, would you have stuck with this if you were not streaming it?
Probably not. Probably not. No.
So you're not liking to quittishness is not enough to fully carry it.
Right. If I was just, if I hadn't said like, oh, I'm going to play as much of this as I can, I would not feel like I was like pot committed to it, which is a weird instinct that has gotten me in a lot of trouble in picking games to cover and picking games to stream. But yeah, if I was just picking this up to kind of fuck around with it, I would be like, oh, there's like so many other games that don't make me feel the way this makes me feel, actually. So,
very fair.
Yeah. So, like, would I recommend this? Does it justify itself? Short answer is yes with an if. Long answer is no with a but. That's a Simpsons thing. That can't be a title. Yeah. But other than that, I like a lot of my game time has just been spent playing Rocksmith. So kind of hard to talk about that when I've already talked about it so much.
When are you going to start gigging?
I don't know that I'm going to start gigging. I'll probably stream a little bit more. I've needed to get my mastery up on learn a few more songs a little bit better. It's in the game, like it gives you a percentage of like, so like I could just go in and say like, oh, this song looks fun, I can play it. But with the way that the dynamic difficulty in it works, it would not be fun to watch or listen to, because like, oh, I'm going to be playing like the root note of these chords until it repeats enough for me to be playing it. So like I need to learn it, but also I need to like get it to a point where I am mostly playing the song along with it, So like getting mastery up refers to like the percentage of like, oh, how much you've learned of this that it gives you, but also like how many of the different like segments or phrases in the song have been built out to where enough of it's represented. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a good game. People should get it.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. I mean, a good game and an amazing learning tool as well.
Yeah. And yeah, just constantly just thinking of in the middle of the day, like, oh, I wonder if that's custom DLC. More often than not, nobody's made it, but a lot of times it is. So, yeah.
Nice.
Any questions about
if you could force one song to exist on Rocksmith that isn't currently, what would you pick?
I mean, it would have to be one of my like little pet bands. Like, so I don't know, like give me something like Pink Slips by Ockerville River, something like that for real. Maybe. Yeah. Either of those, I think it'd be good.
Very cool.
Yeah. I'm this close to like learning how to author those, but it seems like a real pain in the ass. Yeah. Any questions about either Labyrinth of the Demon King or Rocksmith, I guess? All right.
No, just let me know when you start gigging. I'll be there.
Cool. Sounds like a segment.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, where we ask you a question and then you answer it. Dennis, what is the question you ask the nice people?
Yeah. So, a living world is something promised by a lot of games, and not very many actually deliver on it. So what is something small that actually goes a long way towards making the world feel lived in games?
Yeah. And I'll get us started here with Frenza, who says, unlike most farming or life sim games where all the single people stay single if you don't romance them, Rune Factory 2 had canon pairs that would eventually start dating if you didn't woo one of them first. I like that. I like that a lot. I also like that in Baldur's Gate 3, where like if you are not romancing like Astarion or Lae'zel, like at that first party, like they'll hook up.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Bazel stan, so
okay.
Would never have discovered that on my own.
Yeah.
See, I feel like there are two types of playthroughs from what I've seen, though. Either you're dating Astarion or you've killed Astarion.
I mean, that holds true for me. So.
In both of my playthroughs, I have kept Astarion around as a solid bro who I helped out in different ways each time, but I did. Yeah. But that is neat. And that's relatively early, too. Like, Rune Factory 2 was, like, DS era, I think. Nice.
I want a game now where you can try to romance someone and still have the canon pair win out.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
Just give me that crushing, heartbreaking game form.
Isn't that just the date from Final Fantasy VII?
Kinda? I mean, I don't know. That gets into... That gets into I don't know, weird expectation stuff. You know. Also, who do you consider to be the canon the canon romance in that? And as I as I said back in the day when I was replaying Final Fantasy Rebirth and nobody fucking called me on it, I said obviously it is cross-dressing Cloud with Aerith and Tifa. So nobody fucking called me on that. Anyway.
It's because it's just plausible enough.
Moxie, what does Double Cake say?
Double Cake says, negative space is important in making a world feel real to me. Stuff that you don't have to find and might not even have much of a use. But all the extra web pages and Hypnospace Outlaw amount to so much, making the slices of the web you could explore feel like a piece of a larger world.
Yeah, that was necessary for the structure of that too. It's a mystery, so like there has to be extra noise that you have to filter through and stuff. Mm-hmm. Also, rip to Dream Settler. The Hypnospace sequel was canceled for monetary reasons, so that really sucks. I feel terrible for Jay and the team. That's awful.
Yeah, I should clarify that boo is not directed at the team.
No,
it's directed at a world that cannot let these things exist.
Exactly. Yeah. God, Hypnospace is so good. Ben, what does Troy say?
Troy says the nomai glyphs in Outer Wilds was something that made the world feel not just alive, but ancient. Uncovering all the secrets and mysteries of the miniature solar system was a truly unique experience in world building.
Later in the year on WAF, we're talking about the expansion, Echoes of the Eye, and I'm so excited to go back into that.
Have you played it before, or
no,
was that your first time?
No, this will be my first time
playing
the expansion. We covered Outer Worlds a few years ago now, or Outer Wilds. Sorry.
Yeah,
that will never not be the worst naming mix-up in the world.
They're incredibly different games. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Dennis. What does Eggy Wets say?
That person, I refuse to repeat it, says in the Mordor games, when the orcs not only remember your previous encounters, but also have adjusted their MO to counter you. It made me feel like I was a real threat and the enemies were having to adapt to me.
Yep. I mean,
such a cool fucking system that is buried under...
That was just wasted.
Red tape.
Ugh, rip Monolith. We're ripping too many things lately.
Yeah. The things that should die are getting kept alive, and the things that shouldn't die are being killed off.
Yes. My answer for this, I'm going to sound like a fucking parody, but one of my favorite things in about Dark Souls is the fact that there are these neighboring kingdoms that you only hear like little scraps about, and they imply a whole other setting that like could be, a setting for like its own really cool game. So like an example that we gave on Bonfireside Chat a lot was like, okay, a couple of the casters that you meet are from the kingdom of Vinheim, and some of their spells are about sound, and like reading the descriptions, they talk about like the like Academy of Scholarly Sound Assassins, who like who use magic to make themselves like undetectable and stuff like that. And it's
actually really cool. The proper way to pronounce Vinheim is.
Yeah, they say that, but I really can't nail the kind of the ligature in there. The kind of just my tongue trips over it. Yeah. But like there's a bunch of that, And oftentimes it's just character for like, oh, okay, this guy's from the same kingdom. Okay, this is just prejudice. This guy is from the same kingdom as this other guy who sucked in a previous game, so he's probably going to suck too in a very similar way.
The patches effect.
Yeah.
What is it? History doesn't repeat, but it echoes.
Yeah. But
except in Vinheim.
Yeah, but okay, that was good. I'm thinking of like Lautrec, right? Kind of the place that he's from. But like, yeah, just having those hints of, far off and unrelated things that are just flavor for like, oh, here's why we need to have a silence spell. But like just giving like a few tantalizing details that almost feel like fan fiction bait in some ways,
I liked one like that I liked in Bloodborne was the one Japanese character.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's always one of those. There's always like, there's like a land of reeds that's off to the east, and here's where all of the samurai and ninja come from. Yeah.
Yep. And one of them somehow just got lost and ended up here.
Yep. Let's see, Ben. How about you?
I was thinking of Knights of the Old Republic for this one, of the story, side mission story payoff being a random cutscene that you encounter as you're running around the world. Give me more of that, because it just made a really nice feeling of immersion, where it's I don't know, the tragic story of somebody who lost their child or something like that, and it's you happen upon them, in this weird hallway in Manon or something like that, and that's where you see the conclusion. I always thought that was really good and made the world feel a lot more alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Moxie, how about you?
So one of the things I really love is when a character will have, there's certain types of irrational things that, a character can believe. That's the sort of irrational that people would actually believe.
Yeah.
So the example I'm thinking of is in Night in the Woods. The Twinkie fox. I forget.
I forget his name. Yeah.
But
Greg.
At one point,
Greg is his name.
Greg. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Insists that he has a moped because he insists that kids have motorcycles of kids, adults have mopeds, and it makes no sense, but it's exactly the type of nonsense that someone would believe and have that opinion. And so I really love that.
Yeah. God, that's such a great. Love the world of that game. And Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to cheat and do two. Just the slang from Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just that they never give you a dictionary for it or whatever, but it's so pervasive in the world, and you kind of pick it up the same way you pick up any slang. Feels very real. And then the picture I used is from Star Wars Jedi Survivor Fallen Order 2 Part B X, whatever. But from Fallen Order, you're using your old buddy's ship, and he's got a terrarium in there that he wants you to take care of. And at least that I know of, there's never a mechanical effect for collect seeds from the different planets you're on and just kind of keep them there, grow the plants as a memento. But it's just kind of this I'm feeding my buddy's fish while they're out, kind of deal. And their terrarium obviously gets more and more expansive the further you travel. So a nice little memento of your progress that also speaks to the relationship between characters, and it's just a cool little thing.
Yeah. That's always a little neat, when you have a space that reflects progress through the game. I don't necessarily go in for when it's here's your trophy room, you need to arrange everything. I don't want to. I don't want it to go into full on decoration in a game that isn't about that. But just getting trophies, that happens in. We're playing Skin Deep for Watch Out for Fireballs right now. That happens in that, but also happens in Alpha Protocol. Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just you help out the one asset who's a fucking maniac. There are multiples of them, but like the real maniac
You
who
don't
like,
have to be specific.
tortures people with like a bottle of bleach, and then like, later on in each of your hideouts, there's a bottle of bleach there because, like, oh yeah, now you were with that fucking guy. Yeah.
Anything that can get away from a progress bar and into like, memento is good.
Yeah. Was that both of them that you said?
Yes. That was
Okay,
both
cool.
of them.
All right. I want to make sure I did not cut you off.
No, you're good.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for writing in. Thank you, Dennis, for posting those. If you would like to participate in these in the future, follow us on Blue Sky, thelevelpodcast.bsky.social, and watch for the prompts to go up on Monday afternoons.
The end boss.
Now it is time for the end boss, where we talk about things that are happening in the world of video games around us. We already kind of did Ben's, talking about that ridiculous Marvel Snap decision, that $100 card. And Moxie doesn't have one, so we just have two of them. Dennis, you posted yours first. What's happening with the Switch 2?
Yeah, this is putting a lot of pressure on the story. I feel like it's got to be good now. So, Switch 2 is out. People everywhere celebrate. And there are, of course, accessories for the Switch 2 coming out. However, you would think that a case you're getting is going to be a positive for protecting your Switch 2. Unfortunately, for a specific case from D-Brand, which I've never heard before, but for this case from
them, reputable.
But it puts your Switch in significantly more jeopardy. There has been a whole rash of people showing how once you put the console and especially the Joy-Cons into their protective quote-unquote cases, it makes the console infinitely more likely to just fall apart in your hands.
To just detach.
Potentially dropping the console from wherever you're holding it to the floor.
Is that like the best defense is a good offense sort of mentality? Or?
It's to toughen up the Switch 2, really, is what it is. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want the case to make my Joy-Cons locked in to the console, but at the same time, this is not tenable. Having to worry that if you've got this thing on for protection, it actually makes it more likely to drop off. Now, D-Brand has responded a little bit more defensively than I would have personally. Saying that, well, first off, you have to be holding it wrong. And
That's the Apple defense. Yeah, that's the iPhone 4 Signal Gate thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. And then you have to be holding it with only one hand because, no one ever takes their hand off, a second hand off the console at any point.
No.
It's in fact, they build Switch 2 protectors that are directly wired into the arms of your hoodie because you never remove a second hand.
No.
And then the final point, which just is this one goes into parody for me. Your Switch has to be more parallel to the ground than not.
What?
Which, my brother in Christ, when are you not holding it more parallel to the ground than not? So this is the perfect case for anyone who only plays their Switch 2 lying on their side, I guess. Yeah. So, D-Brand really committing to not addressing this in any meaningful way. And watch out. If you're trying to protect your Switch 2, you might be putting it in jeopardy instead.
If they have those kind of wacky expectations for like what somebody is going to, like how they're going to hold it, they should draw a diagram of like just the crazy posture they expect you to adopt with it. That way before you buy it instead of, potentially breaking your very rare, expensive piece of electronics.
Yeah, this reeks of we can't afford to fix it because the products have already shipped, but we can't not respond to this email.
Right.
So,
oof.
I do feel like it is, though, kind of BS that the Switch is this breakable.
I mean, it's just this one thing. Like, and I will say, the magnetic, because I was a little bit like, okay, so how's like the magnetic thing going to work? Like when it is just the Joy-Cons that like snap into the side of it, it's solid. It feels way more solid than the rails that the Switch One kind of came with, right? So like this is a problem that is introduced. This is not like a thing with the Switch itself. This is
I mean the fact that dropping it is enough. Dropping a portable device should not damage it. Like.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
It would be nice. we got rid of that world with the PS Vita, I think. Yeah. Or I mean, God, so just the number of broken ass just PSPs that I saw back when I worked at GameStop. Yeah.
Meanwhile, who was it? Was it like Desert Storm where someone's life was saved because their Game Boy was in their pocket and like stopped a bullet?
I don't know if that's exactly the thing, but there are lots of stories like that.
Yeah, or you put a Nokia phone in a hydraulic press and it breaks the hydraulic press.
Yeah. And this is like, we're not even getting into like the weird little controversy about the Switch 2 screen. Kind of like people are experiencing ghosting or whatever under very particular circumstances. I don't know enough to comment about it, but I know that is a thing that is popping up.
Luigi's Mansion 4 confirmed?
Maybe? Oh yeah, no, it's an ARG that makes your games look worse.
We did not think this through, guys.
No, we didn't. We really we really fucked this one up. Okay, I've got my story, one that is a little bit worrisome if I'm being honest with you. So who here has used NexusMods?
Hand is raised.
Yeah, I guess we're only audio. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
NexusMods is kind of like the de facto like central repository for any game modifications that are out there. Kind of started by one person 24 years ago who just saw a bunch of mods disappear because they were only hosted on individual sites, and decided to start creating a kind of a repository that ended up being, a really great source for this kind of stuff. What is worrisome about this is something that the mod community has really grown to rely on is now changing hands, because that owner, who goes by the screen name Dark One, is way too stressed out by running this thing. Not the job they ever really wanted. And they, manage like a 40-person team. They want to be rid of it. So they sold it.
Yeah, not just the job they wanted, but like the career they wanted. Like
24 fucking years. Yeah. Yeah.
Now they sold it to a well-vetted person that only has the platform's best interests at heart, right?
So there are only rumors about like who the buyer is right now.
Okay, so it was someone awful. Because otherwise you would say. Yeah. So this is just like Reddit rumors and people, claiming to have put together just like details from the announcements and stuff. So take that with all the grains of salt in the world. But it is believed that it has been sold to a company called Chosen. Which has an awful lot in their kind of mission statement about buying up gaming properties and trying to engineer them for uncompromised growth. And they have messed around with NFTs and stuff in the past. So Dark One has said that nothing is fundamentally going to change, but there's no way to guarantee that. And with as dependent as the modding scene has become on this, not just the modding scene, like modders themselves, but just it's real convenient to have one place to go to. There's a lot to be worried about here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in the mindset right now where I'm studying a lot of Twilight Imperium games, so I feel like he should have gone to the people and be like, how much do you guys want this for? I'm going to sell it. So what can you do for me?
Yeah. I don't know. So we'll see how it goes, but I imagine nothing's going to change in the short term. And if it gets real bad, there'll be an exodus, something else will pop up, but I don't know. It's hard to have faith.
A lot of stuff to move around.
Yes.
I mean, the safe bet in life is things will always get worse.
True. Yeah. So it'll just go to a bunch of disconnected discords where there's no a single hey, read this and you figure out how to do it. You have to ask the same question that's been asked a million times because that's how Discord works.
Yes, but that drives volume for Discord to help validate their business model to their investors.
True. It's investors all the way down. I love how everything's gambling. Everything is gambling that's designed to drive everybody who touches it completely insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, did any other stories pop up while we were talking? All right. How do you all feel about
That's about all the good news we can stand.
How do you all feel about buttoning it up?
Let's button.
The credit.
Thank you so much for listening to level number 548. We appreciate that you have taken the time. If you would like to help out the show, you can go and leave a rating or review. You can subscribe on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. You can tell your friends. Talk about the episodes in social media and whatnot. That is the way that we spread the word. And most of all, come back next week. Is there anything I'm forgetting?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I have been Kaye Ross. You can find me on Blue Sky at Kaye.zone.
I've been Dennis Furia. You can find me on Blue Sky at Furia Games.
I've been Moxie.
And I've been Ben Merkel.
And stick around for some titles. Okay, I have one title. It is Talking on Hard Mode, which I think was a Ben, which was a Ben one. Yeah. Who else has titles?
I have 3.
Okay.
The last one is kind of an interpretation, but
Okay.
So I have Veterans from Optimus Prime, Tim Burton-ass adventure game, and Vinheim is pronounced.
I like that one because I like the double way of interpreting it. Of it's just saying that it's pronounced,
Right.
and it being very confusing.
Should should that be stylized with 3 trailing dots, or should it just be Vinheim is
No.
pronounced? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
you
Ben
can
is
put
firmly
3.
against.
You can put 3 spaces in the title so that it's invisible, but there.
I think
that's good.
I think that'll be truncated. Yeah. Let's see. Dennis, what'd you have?
Yeah, so I had Dark Tonsils.
Okay.
I had Binary Helldivers.
Okay.
And then I had Baby Alan Wake.
Okay. And Ben, what you got?
I just had Dark Tonsils.
Okay.
Self-indulgent.
That's fine. I do that all the time. I think by laughs, Vinheim is pronounced. Gets it?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pointless.
Okay. It is decided.